When the College of Medicine of the University of Southern California was founded in 1885, Los Angeles was still very much the Wild West. The medical school was opened on the site of a former winery, and the first graduating class in 1888 included just 8 men and 1 woman. After a closure in 1920, the school reopened in 1928 when it took its modern form as the USC School of Medicine. Then the school's library collection, housed in Science Hall on University Avenue, had only 2,000 books and 70 periodicals, and its 54 students per class paid a tuition of $300 a year. Marguerite Campbell served as the first medical school librarian, followed by Dorothea B. Fox. When Dr. Vilma Proctor took over in 1946, she was promised that a new standalone library would be constructed in the near future. That promise would be fulfilled 22 years later, in 1968. In the meantime, the medical school moved to its current location on what was then called the Medical Campus, and by 1960, a repurposed World War II Army barrack was used to house the library materials. The cramped quarters meant that only the most recent journal issues could be stored there, and when librarians had to retrieve older issues, they had to pass the morgue and anatomy labs in McKibben Hall to get to the storage, a view that many of the librarians did not appreciate. The barracks suffered a fire, multiple floods, birds' nests, and was so overrun with vermin that medical students made a side business of selling the mice they caught in the library to neighboring labs for research. As former librarian Ruth Monahan reported, the library's physical problems did not end there.
A modest history of medicine collection also had been started. It included a few rare books made possible through an annual gift from Salerni Collegium beginning in 1962. These added a trace of scholarliness to the utilitarian Barry gang. But such sophistication was frequently offset by the appearance of ivy pushing up through the floor in the reference area and by the aforementioned twitterings of young birds nesting in window air conditioners.
It was high time for the promise of a new library to be realized, and Eileen and Kenneth T. Norris stepped up to the plate. Kenneth Norris was born in Illinois in 1899 and moved to Los Angeles when he was 8 years old. He graduated from the Manual Arts High School and worked his way up through the metal stamping industry, along the way patenting a number of inventions. Some of his metal manufacturing included products for health use, such as medical oxygen tanks. His focus was on lifelong learning and taking care of his employees. His Norris Industries was one of the first corporations to establish employee profit sharing and pension plans. Eileen and Kenneth Norris saw the library as a way to give back to the community that allowed them to thrive. Quote, "Mrs. Norris and I have gained great satisfaction from making some of our intended gifts during our lifetime, while we can actually see and hear about the good we accomplish." The Eileen and Kenneth T. Norris Medical Library was dedicated on December 4, 1968. Soon after Norris Medical Library opened its doors, rapid change followed. At her retirement in 1971, Dr. Vilma Proctor saw the coming information revolution. Quote, "New methods of information dispersal and rapid dissemination are developing constantly to increase the rate of flow of medical literature and replace the book in its present form. Our medical library will take full advantage of these new tools of information, such as microcards, microfilm, and microfiche. Speed of dissemination is of utmost importance." Meanwhile, the USC School of Pharmacy moved in 1974, changing the USC Medical Campus to the USC Health Sciences Campus. The pharmacy collection, formerly housed in the Seaver Science and Doheny Memorial Libraries at University Park campus, was integrated into the Norris collection. Later, the Occupational Therapy Library and the Physical Therapy Library moved to Norris from their previous off-campus location at the county hospital. With this expanded health sciences audience, The library continued to focus on student education and helping clinicians and researchers apply the cutting edge of information technology to their patient care and research. Nelson Gilman, who held the longest tenure as library director from 1971 through 2000, developed a learning resource center to meet patrons' audiovisual needs and saw the library's technologies and services develop alongside personal computers, database searching, the World Wide Web, and electronic journals. Bill Clintworth built on the library's strong beginning during his 15 years as director, capping his nearly 40 years at the library.
It was a very collaborative environment, and I saw it as a very exciting time to be working in the library because people saw these new tools as something that could really advance the kinds of services that we were being providing.
Into the 21st century, Norris Medical Library continued to operate on the bleeding edge of library services and technology, with the formation of a bioinformatics service and a systematic review service. As the Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Roger Egbert, said at Norris Medical Library's dedication ceremony in 1968, quote, "The library is the heart of the medical school. More, it is the eyes, the brain, the feeling of the school. It is in the library that the student or teacher feels the touch of his professional forebears. There, those who brought medicine to its present great accomplishments lay the foundation for today's investigations. It is in the library that one finds the picture of the present state of our science and art. There, one collects the best view of what medicine's future may hold. Without the library, there would be, and could be, no research." Norris Medical Library's interim director, Janice Brown, sees the library continuing to serve as the heart, eyes, and brain of the health sciences at the University of Southern California into the future.
The library as it is today is very different from what it was 50 years ago, and it will be even more different 50 years from now. We are celebrating the library building's 50th year, but even more, we are celebrating all of the people who have worked here over those years. The people have always been the cornerstone of the library and have made it successful in both serving our users and being a great place to work. And the people of the library will continue moving us forward with high standards and values to meet the challenges of change.